Sawadee Cup and welcome to another episode here for the Funky Pod, Mindful Media and Communication. And welcome. And today we've got a power-packed episode, if I may say so, because we're trying to explore excuse the metaphors, but I have to, the cosmic journey of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, as we obviously commemorate the legacy of Akira Toriyama. You might have heard that he passed away a few days ago, so I figured that's just fitting that we take a few minutes to commemorate, think about Dragon Ball and how it affected communication, media, maybe even society to some extent. So let's delve into how this, I think we can safely say, legendary series has shattered cultural barriers, inspired generations. And I think it even found its way into the hearts of the most unexpected fans. More on this in just a moment. So prepare for a journey through a few media theories that hopefully will help illuminate the world of Goku and friends in ways you've never imagined, I think. As you know, you're probably familiar with Dragon Ball Z. So it's a story of epic battles, eternal friendships, and yes, even intergalactic traffic jams. So let's power up and dive into how a spiky-haired, if I may say so, alien became everyone's favorite Earthling. And the first theory that I want to mention in this case again is a theory we mention a lot. So I hope slowly but steadily it's going to stick to our minds. The use and gratification theory. So why are we all so drawn to Dragon Ball? And the use and gratification theory suggests that media, while my contact lens is moving, that media fulfills specific needs for the audience. And for Dragon Ball fans, it's not just about watching those epic battles. It's about escapism, personal relationship with the characters, personal identity, who do you identify with the most, and also surveillance of a universe that feels, I wanted to say as real as our own. I understand it's not real, but while you were watching it as a kid, you're like, oh my God, look at this possible world. That's what I mean when I say it felt real when watching it, okay? And then we have Goku's relentless optimism, obviously, right? And dedication to training might inspire us as kids to hit the gym, face our own metaphorical Vegetas and super villains that we might have in our lives. So Dragon Ball doesn't just entertain; it serves as a motivational coach, actually. Sometimes a friend, or a completely different universe to explore and to learn from. And when we look at how it impacted the audience, right? So cultivation theory, use and gratification, but also the cultivation theory that we also discussed in a previous podcast. The cultivation theory concerns itself with the long-term effect of media that you're exposed to. In the world of Dragon Ball, it has a very distinct moral compass. It has a distinct sense of justice, and of course, it's all about the triumph of good over evil. So it cultivates the perception of heroism and virtue. Over time, the regular viewers, mostly children, or now, if you grew up with now, then also when you're a grown-up, but you're growing up with it as a child probably. So you develop this optimistic view of the world, believing in the power of hard work, friendship, resilience, and so on. And so the cultivation theory helps explain why Dragon Ball has become this cultural touchstone across the globe, promoting values, and it resonates universally. Usually when we dive into theories that explain society and culture, different cultures, they have different folklore to it and so on. But Dragon Ball has managed to be globally accepted by lots of different cultures. It's very fascinating. And I think one theory that helps explain that is the narrative transportation theory. We haven't talked about this yet on the podcast, so that's where I'm going to slow down a little bit. So if you look into Dragon Ball's ability to draw us into its own world, right, we can use this narrative transportation theory to explain that. The concept of the theory suggests that when people lose themselves in a story, they're transported to a different world. They're experiencing emotions, thoughts, and attitudes consistent with the world that they get transported into. So not with the world that you live in right now, but with the world that you are transported into. Okay. Through Dragon Ball, we embark on an interstellar adventure, if you will, like feel the thrill of the battle, the sorrow of loss, and the joy of victory. It is this super deep emotional engagement is a testament of the series in this case, and of its storytelling prowess. It encourages empathy and sometimes maybe even influencing real-world beliefs and attitudes. So there's a huge power behind a series such as Dragon Ball. And since we just talked about the impact on different cultures, which is pretty fascinating, we can also look at the globalization theory and mixing it up with like something we call cultural hybridity when we talk about like cultures and societies and so on. Because Dragon Ball's global reach is a prime example of media globalization, but also cultural hybridity. It merges the typical Japanese cultural elements with universal themes and universal narratives. And that therefore it creates this hybrid culture product that has this worldwide appeal. This phenomenon illustrates something, and that is that the theory of mediascapes and idealscapes. Okay, mediascapes, idealscapes. And this means that media creates landscapes of images and ideas that flow across borders and shaping perceptions of the world and of ourselves. So it's not bound by any specific border. Okay, so I think that's very interesting. And Dragon Ball exemplifies how media can transcend culture and those geographical boundaries, and hence fostering a global community of fans who share like common values and interests. And I'm still fascinated by that, because if you look out, and I have more in a second, but if you look out, like who's been a Dragon Ball fan, you see like sports megastars doing a Dragon Ball celebration after they win a trophy, after they score a goal, whatnot. You see like musicians, artists everywhere using Dragon Ball references. So crazy how much impact this show had. And if we keep talking about like the global spread of Dragon Ball, if you look back like when it started, like once upon a time, if you will, right, like in this far off land called the 1980s, like this manga Dragon Ball appeared, and it would change the playground and the debates on the playground forever. And this journey from Dragon Ball from Japan to this global superstardom. It wasn't fueled by a spaceship, obviously, but those universal themes that I just mentioned earlier, friendship, resilience, the quest for eternal youth. Okay, maybe just the Dragon Balls, but who's keeping track? You know what I mean, right? And this series showed us that with enough training, anyone could raise their power level from like struggling with the groceries to like splitting mountains for fun, for example, right? And let's not forget the fashion statements, because who doesn't want to rock like a turtle shell, or no, I'm kidding, but go blonde at will, for example, right? You see, obviously exaggerating a little bit, but you get the point. The global impact can be seen everywhere in every culture. And we can also not deny the impact that it had, like I said earlier, on pop culture and the media. Dragon Ball didn't just infiltrate pop culture; it wrecking ball its way in, if you will. From athletes celebrating goals with moves that would make Goku proud, obviously, to musicians dropping references in their songs, their rap lyrics, and so on. Dragon Ball's essence is basically everywhere, and it's the universal icebreaker, if you will. Like everybody can relate something or somehow to Dragon Ball. Okay, and so this I don't know. If you look at this as a segment of our cultural tapestry, it shows us that sometimes all you need to bring people together is a shared love for over-the-top battle sequences, for example, and shouting until your hair changes the color. So it's crazy how this show like brings people together. And speaking of bringing people together, right, a little bit of an unexpected twist of fate, if you will. Reports actually suggested, now that the creator passed away, suggested that even Mexican drug cartels, because Dragon Ball is insanely popular in Mexico, so even Mexican drug cartels have shown respect for the passing, proving that Goku's appeal knows no bounds, obviously. It's as if like Toriyama scribbled down a universal peace treaty and kind of like disguised it as a manga, right? So Mexican drug cartels said, hey, ceasefire for a few days because we're mourning the passing of the creator of Dragon Ball. Crazy. So this segment now begs the question, if you're looking at if Dragon Ball can bring together rivals for a moment of mourning, what can't it do? It's a testament to and you might think I'm exaggerating, but it's a testament to the series like unifying power. Because like nothing says temporary truth quite like bonding over your favorite childhood anime. It's still kind of baffling to me how serious Mexico takes Dragon Ball. You know? The final episode was announced like a huge boxing fight, for example. It's crazy. So at its core, if you look at to wrap things up, like at its core, I think Dragon Ball speaks like this universal language, right? A language that we all speak, that we all understand. It's like, don't give up, always eat your breakfast, because you never know when you're going to fight a space tyrant. Again, still in the exaggerating mode, because that's how I cope, But you see what I'm saying, right? Through the characters, stories, and yes, even the filler episodes in between, the series teaches us about like perseverance, the value of friendship, dietary importance of dinosaur meat, and whatnot. It's a narrative that's super compelling, and that you find yourself nodding along because you're like, yeah, of course I understand what's happening, good versus bad, right? And you think like, yes, I too would like to train in 100 times Earth gravity, for example. So the genius of Dragon Ball, what I'm trying to say, lies in its ability to make us, the audience, believe, if only for a moment, in the impossible. And that's how it takes you out of your universe into the Dragon Ball universe. Okay. So before I get too sad here, let me wrap up this short special episode to commemorate and to just look back at the impact of Dragon Ball onto the society. I'm curious to hear, well, of course, your thoughts, but I hope with like the last 10, 15 minutes, you saw that like through the lens of media theories, we kind of explored a little bit how the series satisfied even like some psychological needs and shaped our perceptions of heroism, of what's good, what's bad. It transported us into the captivating world of Dragon Ball and contributes to like a global flow of cultures, even on cultural ideas. So Akira Toriyama and his masterpiece is not just a tale of Goku's battles. It's a story about like our own struggles, our own victories, and that universal journey towards becoming your best selves. This ends the TED Talk on Dragon Ball Z. I want to know, like, how did it impact you? Did it impact you? How did it impact you? What do you think when you think Dragon Ball Z? And what's your favorite pop cultural reference of Dragon Ball Z? Is it a football player celebrating? Is it like a lyric being dropped somewhere? What's your favorite Dragon Ball Z pop culture reference. Let me know, shout out at FunkyPod on social media, or just reply to or leave the comments in the podcast app on Spotify. You can do that, for example. Like, share, subscribe. It would be very nice. Leave a review. It would be fantastic because then we can reach more people. Until then, stay safe. Take care. We talk soon. Sawadee ka.